What's up, guys? MaxMel94 here, and today I'm going to review my newly purchased MTH 464 New York Central Empire State Express Hudson. So MTH finally released a Rail King version, first one in a while, and this is the Imperial Rail King Empire State Express engine and tender. It comes by itself, of course, for those who don't know. So this is going to be a separate purchase. It is valued at about $450, $500 on the catalog price. Retail kind of drops $50 at the very least. This was a $450 at trainworld.com. Really, actually very well, nicely priced compared to what it would be worth based on the catalog price. They're known to give good discounts on engines, and they're very helpful and nice. So go check them out if you're a New Yorker. I would say, just to let you guys know, the Long Island store, Trainland, is the one that's open. If you want to be able to actually buy in person or go in person, Train World in Brooklyn is a little more restricted due to COVID-19. So no retail customers can actually go in and out like that. So just a little bit of background on this engine. The Empire State Express was an express luxury line engine or train, better yet, that ran on the Hudson line, which the Metro North kind of takes over now. This train originally, the train itself, the Empire State Express passenger train, originally debuted in the late 1800s and continued until 1967, when passenger service was kind of dying down in the city and in America. This engine is part of pretty much, I would say, the middle chapter of the Empire State Express service. This engine debuted on December 7th, 1941, and unfortunately it didn't get the greatest reception, not because it doesn't look beautiful, but because the attack of Pearl Harbor overshadowed anything else going on in the country. So while this is happening in New York, we were getting attacked in Pearl Harbor, so anything outside of that was being overshadowed. But it still got good reception. It just didn't get the debut it deserved. The train was well received amongst the crowds, and it was a very nice train. It came out with gorgeous stainless steel cars built by the Bud Company, which, for those who may not know, they actually made some of the stainless subway cars that we have running around in New York City today, such as the R32 cars, which were recently retired. So this engine ran, if I'm not mistaken, into the 1950s until this train was replaced by diesels, stainless E3 diesels, if I'm not mistaken. So this engine didn't get to run for a crazy amount of time, but the passenger train itself existed for many decades, which is actually quite impressive, because there were many trains that I admire from New York that didn't last long. 20th Century Limited was considered the most famous train in the world, and then there was the Empire State Express. They both ran up and down the Hudson line, but this one was a little more specific due to the fact that it went from New York to Buffalo and back and forth, which today now is done by the Amtrak Empire Service. So the Empire Service is basically the fallout version of this. Amtrak took over in the 1970s, and they converted a bunch of the lines to them. And New York Central became obsolete pretty much after 1967. This was when the MTA became more creative, because before that, each subway line was kind of their own companies. So they all eventually merged, and then they decided to add the commuter services lines to them. That includes the New York Central. So the New York Central system is basically what the Metro North is. The Metro North is a result of the New York Central, Pennsylvania Railroad, and a bunch of others kind of just going out of business or just falling apart due to the fact that there was low demand in the passenger market on passenger trains. So a little bit about the model. It is well created as always. Stainless steel, very nice silver. I like to have a different engine for once. A lot of my engines are not highly detailed. They are the previous generation in MTH trains. My Blue Comet is a PS2 engine starter set. So it's an 027 gauge looking engine. It's not very scale built. This is a semi-scale Imperial Rail King engine. So anyone who's owned it already knows that this is kind of like the mid-range between Premier and Rail King. And for those who don't know, and probably this first time you're hearing of this, Rail King is basically a a beginner's category for anyone who wants to buy a model train from MTH Electric Trains. They are kind of like the starter sets, which is basically like what Lionel. If anyone who knows what Lionel trains are, the starter sets that you get from Lionel is basically what Rail King is for MTH. Difference is Lionel has starter sets that have sounds, but they don't have speed control. Rail King does. They have a lot more features: synchronized fan driven smoke and well scented smoke fluids. Lionel doesn't really do that when you buy it. However, they do have scented smoke. And MTH has well, they just use, I guess, just different equipment. So this is basically their mid-range. What Lionel's Line Chief Plus is, Rail King Imperial is pretty much MTH's version of that, if you want to think about it. The Imperial line itself has been around longer, for those who don't know. So Line Chief Plus from Lionel is more newer. That's kind of like, it basically is their response to MTH's Rail King Imperials. So yeah, there you go. So I'm going to let you guys know right now. I've ran this a few times and I absolutely do like it. I'm a bit of a nitpicky person, not because I'm necessarily a spoiled brat in any way. It's just that I'm very particular. I'm one of those guys, so I'm a little particular about things, but I make exceptions where I can. I will say I've seen the PS2 version of this run around, and there is a bit generic sounds to that. This one is a little more specific, especially in the startup sequences, and it is quite amazing. I do love the announcement on this one as opposed to the PS2, only because this one doesn't sound as robotic, in my opinion. This guy actually sounds like he's happy to announce that the train is arriving. The other guy just sounds robotic. Like, I mean, you'll see what I'm talking about when I start this up. So the details on this are absolutely amazing. All driving wheels look very sleek and nice. On the other side, there is a bit of apparently a black scratch on the other side. I'm not going to show it. I thought it was pen. Someone pointed out that it looks like a scratch. I didn't really notice. And we tested it in store. No one really noticed this. I bought this online from Train World, and I had to go through a bit of a ringer, not because of them. Train World is the absolute best in when it comes to buying trains, in my opinion. I think this is just a result of MTH kind of going out of business, so I think their rollouts are kind of like either mistested or something. I don't know what it is. I had to replace this engine twice, basically. My first one, kind of like after 5 minutes, stopped running. It just got dead in the water for whatever reason, don't know why. And then the second one in the store, we were testing out a few to make sure they work. Second one was kind of like, it had moments of silence when going up an incline, which was like a big, like, no, I can't have that. This one is a lot more better. It does need a little oil, which is fine. I mean, I don't know how long, because this train came out in the 2018 catalog. So I don't know when exactly these were actually produced in the factory and then how long things got delayed. I'm guessing maybe they've been sitting around for a while and they probably just, by the time they got rolled out, it was like due for them to just be a little more checked to make sure that nothing is messed up and everything is fine tuned. I think, now that I think about it, I think that may be the reason, because this is delayed by 2 years. This was supposed to originally come out in last year and it never did. And I think because of COVID-19, a lot of things got delayed, including the shipment of certain models. I don't know how that is the case with everyone, because Lionel, it was able to release their trains without a problem. Lionel's Line Chief Plus 2.0 was released, I think, last year when they announced the Polar Express in that line, and It got released as they said it would for the most part. They were just delayed by a few months. This was delayed for 2 years, and I think I could see why. I think there were either a lot of issues when they were creating this model, and maybe they finally got it tuned up enough where like, okay, we finally resolve problems, but I'm not really sure how well tested they were. I can't critique too much. It's just for me, because I spent a lot of money, I don't find it all that fair that some of them are a little messed up. I was the first to buy it from Train World, so I'm the first to have it and the first to bring up any issues. I'm kind of glad that I'm the first, because then anyone else could probably either forewarned, or they can do something about the ones that they have in their store if they have any power over that. Because with MTH closing down next year, a lot of things are kind of kept to a minimum. Some workers, they're not doing repairs in the fact in their centers anymore, just unauthorized dealers. I was told by a worker, so not from a worker from MTH. So everything is more warranty based with them. So you either get a replacement or just get it fixed by your local hobby shop that has an authorized dealer. So I'm gonna show you a little more details on this. It has figurines inside the cab, the fireman and the engineer. The engineer's on the right, fireman on the left. I apologize, it's dark. I just don't want to mess with the drawbar, to be honest. And you'll see later on that this has a cab light and a firebox glow. And the tender here, which looks freaking amazing. This is made of solid steel. Not steel, but metal. I mean, I don't know if I can't say it's steel, it's metal. And it has link chain. It actually has a few link chains to it. Let me just brighten this up a bit. It has link chains dangling on the side, on the interiors and on the outside. That was a feature that was mentioned in the catalogs. And there is, hold on a second, a backlight over here. I think you can see the light bulb. There's a backlight here, which is amazing. All the lights are pretty much LED on this engine. I don't have the passenger cars yet, so I got it pulling my Blue Comets passenger cars for the time being. It's a little okay. It's probably a little off for the size. Imperial's a little longer than regular Rail King engines because it's semi-scale, so the cars may be a little off in size, but I don't really see the big deal. But it's crazy detailed. I love it. I haven't bought a train in 5 years, so and the last train I bought is from 2004. It was the MTH R26 subway cars, and they're older. They have nice detail, but they're not like, they're not the latest thing right now. So this is the first new train I buy in years. So I figured, let me get one last engine from MTH, because I know that the minute they go out of business and anyone who owns these things are going to sell them for money that I will refuse to pay for a train. And the PS2 version of this engine, I actually like too, but the announcing is a little more generic. This one has very nice announcements and very specific sounds in some cases. I'm going to show you guys real quick right now. Forgive me for not being as smooth as Eric Siegel, but I'm not going to try to copy him. And I don't have his equipment. So I'm going to start up and show you guys. Hopefully I'm the first to show you guys how this thing works. Try the whistle here. Bell. I'm using DCS Explorer, so I'm not going to be able to purposely put any crew talk. So whatever will come out of this engine.
Water level looks good.
It's smoking fairly nicely. So let's roll it out real quick and do a sequence. And there you nice smoker and everything. And here's the station sequence.
Now arriving from New York on track number 1, train number 51, the Empire State Express.
This stop is Albany. Have a good one.
You too.
Let me grab that for you.
Thank you.
So real quick, here is the cab light and the firebox glow.
Excuse me, sir. You dropped something.
Thank you.
Excuse me, do you know what time it is?
10:35. Excuse me, ma'am.
And it's kind of like glows, like it embers a little bit, so it acts like it's embering, like flickering a little bit. It's really cool. For the record, it's always gonna say 10:35 no matter where the train's stopping, which I kind of hate, but it is what it is. So we're using an iPhone, and it's
Now departing for Cleveland on track number 1, train number 51, the Empire State Express.
Hurry up now. Let me grab that for you. Tickets out, folks. All aboard! Careful on the steps now.
Hurry up. We're gonna miss our train.
Plenty of steam. Let's get down the line.
That's Doppler effect, by the way. That's at 65 miles an hour, scale increments, of course. I love doing this. And here we go with the backlight. There you go. And there you have it. That is the Empire State Express in all its glory. The retail price for this engine, depending on where you go, goes for around $450. I got it for around that price at Train World. The catalog price is right at $500 for the engine by itself, engine and tender by itself. Passenger cars are separate. They go for about $200 to $300. And I don't know the weight and status of this. I'm not Eric Siegel that much, so I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, this set is very nice. I do enjoy it. It has a few kinks to it, for me personally. So, but it's nothing that can't be like dealt with real quick, with a little expert help, or maybe something I could probably fix myself. But I don't want to mess anything up. Anything outside of post-war is because it's kind of like a little difficult, but otherwise this is a very nice train. I love it. First real detailed train I ever bought. I'm so desperate to buy the passenger cars because I just need them. It will look so amazing. I love the Blue Comet, but this does not go together. But it's nice to have it. Nice to finally have a New York engine, you know. So there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I hope to talk to you soon. Have a good day, or have a good night, wherever you are.